Let's
I
see.
invited a bunch of people.
Okay.
Let's see.
Good.
Oh boy.
Welcome to the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast, episode 257. On this show, we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Chad Wallace from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for all things firearms related. In this show, we'll be discussing the MantisX review, CZ's new P10 S, and a ZEV. Tonight on the podcast, we have Big Daddy Z, Big Man T, and Little Daddy R. So what did you guys do in firearms?
I did absolutely.
Man, he actually said it.
He was going to say it.
Oh God, sorry, I didn't even mean to start coughing in everyone's ear. Little Daddy R got upset. I did absolutely nothing. I did absolutely nothing. I went on vacation down south, and I carried my Glock 19 with a disgusting 10-round magazines because I had no way of sneaking out the effing state. And all of my 15-rounders live in Pennsylvania, and I wasn't going to go that long of a route just to pick up 15-round magazines and then have to drive back through Pennsylvania to drop them off to go home. That's the ridiculousness we live with in New Jersey now.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I'm gonna say I didn't do anything either because of New Year's, and I kind of pretty much just took the weekend off and rested and did nothing, and that's exactly
Happy New
what I
Year's,
did.
everyone.
Yeah.
Happy New Year's.
Hey, I put that in the end, but I guess we'll say it again. Zane, Rob.
Well, what was that?
That was me.
That
was me pressing buttons. I did some stuff. I taught 2 concealed weapons courses, and then in between those, they're on the same day, and I had about an hour downtime. So I got some trigger time in with a couple products. I got in for review, a trigger and an extended slide stop, or extended slide release, as the company calls it, which just makes the internet really super mad. And probably put a couple hundred, because Glock says it's a slide stop, not a slide release, because the internet's stupid. Okay. But yeah, so I got a couple hundred rounds through each one of those products, and working on those some more. And I think that's it.
Well, there's about 500,000, about 5 or 6 million people. They're going to determine whether or not they're going to be felons or they're going to surrender their bump fire stocks in the next 90 days, which is going to irk the crap out of me. So, anyways, no, over Christmas I did some hunting in North Carolina.
Did you get anything?
No, the deer are very inconsiderate. I'm guessing after the hurricane and a lot of other hunters out there this year, they're just kind of like total nocturnally this year. So I didn't feel like doing fire hunting, so I didn't get a deer, but we did some night hunting and got a few predators. Nice. A few raccoons, some possums, and some other stuff. And I did. Today was such a beautiful day in Florida. I did a nice little 2-hour motorcycle ride, and I carried my little Ruger LC 9S. Trying to evaluate different holsters for that. Plus, a portly gentleman riding a motorcycle carrying a gun. What the best way to do that is
slung over your shoulder.
Well, Florida's not an open carry state, so you kind of have to carry it concealed.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, Florida, open carry only when you're hunting, fishing, or in transition to those.
Traveling to or from, or target shooting.
Yeah.
And the weird part is here in Oregon, you don't need a concealed carry permit because open carry is legal. But for concealed carry, if you're actively hunting, fishing, going to or from those, the same with the range, you can conceal carry.
Well, yeah, that's the way it was when I lived in North Carolina. They had open carry, and I saw people all the time openly carrying their guns. I saw a person riding a chopper one day down the highway with a 6-shooter, just open carry, because the shirt had blown back. But in Florida, you gotta be careful, because even I think they lessen the inadvertent carrying charges.
So about 3 years ago, they added a statute that basically says it is not a violation. They added a definition at the end. It says it's not a violation of the open carry statute to briefly and inadvertently display your firearm so long as it's not done so in a rude, threatening, or careless manner, not necessarily in self-defense. I covered that in my class, and I did 2 of those this weekend, so still fresh in the brain.
Nice.
Thanks, Zach. You almost know, act like you know what you're talking about.
It's 790.25 of the Florida State statutes.
The one about pornography?
No, not that one.
No, this is a family-friendly show, so
Well, no, that's the
you can't say that one.
No, we're talking about law. We're not talking about the actual photos and stuff. Anyways, but no, that's what I've done.
Yeah,
went up there, did some hunting, came back.
And, well, between you and Zane, at least somebody did something. I think.
Pretty much.
I think Tony's trying to recuperate.
I tell you what, though, I got a chance to shoot a relative's 6.5 Creedmoor Kimber rifle, and it had a loophole. I think a Mark IV first focal plane.
Yeah,
that's a nice scope.
I mean,
as the sun was setting, it had I thought it had incredible light gathering capabilities.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I just think there's what comparable out there for less money, and they're an Oregon company, and I like Oregon companies. But hey,
I just had to laugh at Daddy Warbucks' relative. He has a Kimber with a loophole on it.
So what's wrong with that?
Was it an Oregon Kimber or was it a New York Kimber?
It was the Kimber, I think the Mountain Ascent. One of their bolt action rifles. I don't know where the darn thing's made at. Don't really care.
Well, I was just curious.
They moved, right?
Oh yeah, years and years ago. Mm-hmm. They moved before they started making pistols. Really.
Well, it's a 6.5 Creedmoor, so it's a relatively new rifle.
Yeah, it's got to be a new one.
So it's Oregon.
No,
because nobody moves. Wait a minute, they moved from Oregon to New York?
Yeah, nobody said they were smart.
Holy crap. That's stupid. Holy mackerel. Who the frig?
Have you seen Kimber? What is that? Kimber QC lately?
Wait a minute. Did Remington, the Freedom Group buy them? That sounds like
maybe they are Freedom Group.
Because that sounds like something Freedom Group does. Hey, let's buy a gun company and move it to New York.
No, they moved it themselves, and it was like, okay.
Yeah, they moved to Yonkers, I think, right?
Yeah, something like that.
But I know you guys like Kimber rifles, a bunch of crap, but you know what? I've shot their pistols, I've shot their rifles, and I like them.
I got no problem with
their rifles. Guns. Their rifles are really pistols. Nice rifles.
Their handguns were good,
and some of them still are good.
Some of them. Well,
it's just a crapshoot on whether the one you get is going to be good or not.
What happened is they were good, and I think they grew so big so fast that QC fell off, and they were more bad than good. And now they're trying to get it back together. But once your reputation is shot, it takes a really long time to get it back together. I mean, there's still people that don't trust M16 AR-15s because of what happened in Vietnam pre-1970.
But I do hear, you know what would make me like Kimber a whole bunch better?
They send me one.
Exactly. Because Tony's looking for a 1911, and I bet Kimber would step up if you were to ask him.
I tell you what,
I'll ask. From commie state to commie state?
Yeah, see?
I did get a couple some range time with a Ruger Precision 6.5 Creedmoor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice.
You're gonna sell the 308 and buy a 6.5?
Oh God, I'm gonna keep the 308. I'm gonna sell something else.
Okay.
But I've shot a Kimber 1911. This was hilarious. I think the guy had a Kimber 1911 and he was shooting steel case out of it, which I just don't get. But he was like, "Hey, want to check it out?" So I pick it up. I look at it, I dry fire it once or twice, and then I proceed to shoot his 50-yard rifle target with it, 8 out of 8. He looked at me like I walked on water because his 15-yard target looked like a shotgun target. Meanwhile, I think I had a little bit over a hand size group. Well, actually, it was 2 hand size because again, it was steel case and I hadn't shot it before, and I was shooting it from standing. But he was amazed.
It always amazes me how amazed people can be when they see someone who can actually shoot. Like, because people, it's so weird. And I've said this before on the show, and this is not my own thought. I totally stole this from someone. I just can't remember who, or I'd give him credit. But like, literally, shooting's like one of the only things that I can go buy a gun and I can go buy ammo, that I can go put a target up and shoot it and say, wow, I'm good at this, and like self-diagnose that I am good at a thing. Like, this is just so strange to me. Like when I do classes, you know, you like silhouette targets have like the scoring legend up in the upper left corner. Usually, it's usually like about 3 inches by 3 inches, and that is the silhouette. So I'll have my students shooting the silhouette, and then when I go demo, I will literally do all my demo shots on the 3-inch little square, and still get center mass hits on that little bitty 3-inch silhouette. And they'll be like, amazing. It's really not that hard. If you line up the sights and press the trigger, I promise you, the bullet's going to go exactly where the sights were aligned with the trigger boat. I promise you, it's going to happen every time. And if it doesn't go where you want it to go, you screwed up. Like, it's really that simple.
It's fundamental. But here's the thing: many guys have never taken a lesson. They're gonna buy their gun and they're gonna shoot it, and then they're gonna think they're good doing what they do until they bump into somebody that can shoot even just a little bit better. And I'm not talking down. I'm just saying, hey, take a class, man, and then all of a sudden you'll learn what you don't know. You'll learn how much further on this journey you have to go, and that's why I still take classes, because I know there's a bunch I don't know, and I want to get better at this because this is my chosen profession.
Yep.
Not only that, but firearms theory and firearms training changes every 15 years or so.
That too.
Because when I first came into firearms in the mid '80s, it was the teacup. You know, that the lever stance with the teacup, and then they moved over to the isosceles and the. You know, it seems like every so often they change. You know.
Here's the other thing too that irritates me. I needed a specific set of targets the other day because I was going to run I was doing a security qualification for some guys, and you have to use the state requires you specific targets. And I called like 4 different indoor ranges, and none of them had them. The only silhouette targets they had were the 50-yard silhouette targets. I'm like, literally, your range is 20 yards long. You're an indoor range. You don't carry the 20 and the 15-yard targets. You only carry the 50-yard. No, because people suck, and they don't want to. They want to think. They want to feel like they're good. They want to shoot a 50-yard target at 7 yards and be like, well, I kept them all on the person. Like, well, you better have.
Yeah, Rob's cat has got his butt in the camera. oh, dude, it was nothing but cat booty hole.
Didn't the We Like Shooting guys have a patch?
Yep.
A fast patch off of that?
Yes.
What?
It was probably, years ago, yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, we'll get to the announcements now.
Well, if I'm Little Daddy R, that's Baby Kitty Z, so.
Yep, exactly.
Because her name is Zoe.
And that's, no.
What?
Nice.
I already do that, though. Ben,
what the hell am I missing?
He's missing it. Should we tell him? Nope. Okay.
No.
Bandwidth sponsor is Patriot Patch Co., or at least they are for this show. Maybe not the next one after the cat. New patches for pre-order. Don't ask me what they are because I didn't go look because I was too busy doing nothing.
Hey, it's the winter warfare patch.
Yes,
it's a tank with an igloo on it and the cannon going out the front of it.
Yes, that's right. Thanks, Rob. I knew you were here.
And they also have a Blues Brothers theme patch.
Yeah,
it's
I saw
Blues
that
Brothers mobile with the caption, "What we are on a mission from God."
Yes, exactly.
Hey, at least somebody can do your job around here.
Good. So go check them out. Join the Patch of the Month Club. You can get the cool patches. You can also go check out Gun Tech USA and use our affiliate link. It's in the show notes. And you can use our Amazon affiliate link if you're shopping there at firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. And if you want to donate to the 2A Free Diversity Shoot and want to pick up stuff from Black Bag Resources, you can use the code 2A Free, and Tony will get all that stuff to give out to people. Rob, it's time to do your actual job.
I'm still mad at you.
Okay. No disclaimer today.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and the worst host ever, and do not reflect the official policy position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employees. Viewer discretion is advised. This is especially on true on live shows, and I just received a message. This will be our last show ever. We just canned.
Wow. Little Rufus is angry. What's wrong with Little Rufus?
Well, Rob, it was nice having you on the show.
Later.
Well, somebody's got to make fun of you. I mean, you know, Tony, we make fun of him all the time. So, let's see.
What do you mean you make fun of Tony all the time?
Yeah.
You
Well,
guys
we
make
do.
fun of me
Nobody makes fun
all
of
the time.
I think
Nobody
we make
thinks
fun
I'm
of
insane.
everybody all the time.
I feel like it's
I'm a victim. You guys
my
are going to
God.
stop picking on me.
Hey,
yeah.
Oh,
me
you know,
too.
you know that cough medicine you were drinking? Have some more.
I think I said.
Like a fifth of it.
I'm gonna go
I
find my
think I
Tabasco flavored whiskey.
I think I would continue. I would continue drinking this NyQuil and have Technicolor friggin' dreams.
Okay.
I'm going to go get another bottle of scotch.
Probably wise. Actually, I'm glad Rob is here
Or
tonight
three.
because Rob also has one of these, which the review tonight is the MantisX. And
Oh, it's awesome. Buy it.
there's
No,
Rob.
serious.
No.
That's the review in a second. It's awesome. Buy it. Boom.
I
Okay.
completely agree. It's pretty cool. I mean, but we'll go into the review. It's nice that Rob's here because he can say I missed stuff or he'll just say it's awesome. Go buy one.
I said that like 5 times.
Well, we're supposed to repeat ourselves, aren't we?
Sure.
Do you remember that?
Now,
Yeah.
I thought it was just
we
me.
should
but
be
okay.
we should be clear about this. This is a review, which means you actually have put your hands on this product, and you actually have seen
That's
it.
this
played
device.
with
I
it,
have
and-
this device. I've tried it on. Oh, I've also tried it on iPads. I've tried it on several Android phones. Yeah.
I just wanted to
Just
make that.
Chad beat me to the bullet for writing this
the
review.
review. Yeah, it was.
I just
That's
wanted to
basically-
point that out, just
I know,
in case
I know.
anyone
Just-
out there listening
just in
doesn't
case
understand.
Just in case when we get to our feedback, we can explain to this person about what you just said.
All right, just throwing
All
it out
right. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, so let's see. I do have this product in my hands. Oh, it's right here. There we go. If you haven't heard of MantisX, you've probably been living under a rock, but you're missing out if you haven't. If you're interested in improving your shooting, this little cool gadget could pretty much help you. It is by far the easiest training system I've used, especially if you're tech savvy. It's much better than just aiming at a light switch on your wall and pulling the trigger and dry fire. So all you need is a smartphone, tablet, doesn't matter what kind. It's got to have Bluetooth. That's pretty much it. The MantisX is a pretty novel concept. It uses this little smart sensor on the end here it attaches to a rail. It's half the training system, but it's really less. I'll explain that later. It's pretty small. It's about 2 inches long and a little over an inch wide and about an inch tall total. It only weighs an ounce, so you really don't notice it's there when you put it on a firearm, especially if you put it on a long gun. It's gone. It comes with a charging cord and a little carrying case, which is kind of nice. It's your standard like micro USB, so I just plug it into my phone charger and it works fine because I don't have an iPhone. I never use the carrying case because this thing's always mounted on some sort of firearm. I may take it off, but then I'll put it on something else just because. On the bottom of it is this little button with an on-off sensor. I turned it on so you can see the little green LED. It basically senses small movements and it relays it to the MantisX app, and that's where all the magic happens, really. The app's half the system. Nah, it's more like 90%. So, oops. Where was I? It's 90% probably. So I'll kind of show you what it's like. I'll probably forget some of the things it does. It has training courses, so you can just go to the firearmsinsider.tv and look at the review. It helps, and it has links to the Mantis website, but there's stuff on there like open training and shot timer, benchmarks, stuff like that. Has an intro course that kind of tells you how the app works with some training shots. It does have a basic marksmanship and an FBI qualification course, but the FBI course has to be done under live fire. You can't do it under the dry fire part, which brings us to the train section of the MantisX, which is all the little things that it has, which the open training, the shot timer, the benchmark, timed benchmark, surprise break. It basically, when it beeps at you, you're supposed to shoot whatever you're aiming at. The reload, in battery, out of battery, cadence shots, support hand only, stuff like that. It also has its history. The history tab's kind of cool because it keeps track of the number of shots, let's see. Also, there's a history at the bottom, but so you can keep track of what you're doing over time. It's got a bunch of little like graphs and stuff, which the article goes into it more. So if you, like, for instance, get a brand new gun and put this on it, it will keep track of how many shots are fired. So like if you only put it on for live fire, you can actually keep a running total of how many shots are on it. Which is kind of nice. Also, if you're into competing with your friends or even people you don't know, it has a groups tab. You can add people or groups to compare how you're doing with others, which, if you ask me, that helps you improve your skills because you're now somewhat accountable, not just to the app, but you might have a friend that says, "Hey, how come you suck?"
That's what the reason for it, is so you can bust on your friends.
Right. And that's really why it's there. And that's why I haven't added Rob, because he'd tell me I suck. So,
well, not even how come you suck, but I mean, if you don't log in and dry fire for a week, it's like, hey,
oh, yeah,
how come you're not, I see you're not practicing, so you're not doing anything.
Exactly.
Question from the live chat: do you have to have a rail?
No. And
yes.
You don't, because you can purchase adapters for certain handguns.
Oh.
So the answer is yes and no, but you'd have to go look at their website to see which adapters they make for them. So it's kind of a yes, no. Then there's the settings tab, which has all kinds of stuff in it. Rifle pistol selection, right, left hand, if that's your primary hand. Live fire, dry fire, or CO2. So if you have like CO2 pistol to practice with, you could mount it on there. I didn't have a CO2 pistol, so I didn't try it on there. I have, at shooting events, used their CO2 pistol with the MantisX, and it worked fine. It read it. That's about all I could say about that. There's sensor mounting direction and location, top, bottom, backwards, forwards, stuff like that. In fact, I actually have this one mounted what they consider backwards, so that the charging port is in the front, so that I don't have to take it off to charge it. That's kind of cool. I put mine, as you can see, on a Polymer 80. It's the Glock 19 size, so that's the pistol I chose with the mounting rail. Here's where I said it does offer adapters for other pistols if you don't have the rail. There's also an instruction guide in there and a bunch of other stuff. It's a pretty intensive app, so that's kind of nice. I've been using this thing since I received it. They did send it to me for review. Mostly dry fire practice, but I did do some live fire. It worked fine. I put it on a rifle, dry fire, live fire, worked fine on there. The open training, for instance, gives you scores times between shots, etc. If you swipe left on it, the round chart comes up with, it says your average score, and also around it there's a center circle, red areas. If you touch them, it brings up what you're possibly doing wrong with the shot, or how to correct it. If you swipe left again, it brings up a graph with trigger press movements, stability, and then if you do it again, it has movement displays for each shot, which it's a little like video you can take. So it literally shows you. I don't know if I can show it on here, but I probably can. Let's see if we can. You can almost kind of see it moving, and then it shows here's a better one. This one, you can kind of see it moving. That's how you're holding the pistol, and then it gives you an X where the shot was fired. That's kind of cool to watch how much you're actually moving, which doesn't seem like anything to you, but it is. But I liked it. I think it's a real useful training tool. If nothing else, it gives you incentive to dry fire more, which, as we all know, decent dry fire will make you improve. I did have a small problem once in a while with dry fire where it didn't want to seem to pick up the shot. I haven't had that problem in a while, but I mean, literally the pistol was like a foot or two away from the phone and it didn't pick it up, but I don't know if that was just a fluke or something, because like I said, I haven't had it happen in a long time. I just turned the sensor off and reconnected it when it did that. During range time, if you're too far away from the phone, it wouldn't register shots. That's just a Bluetooth problem. So if you're using it at the range, just keep your phone or whatever in your pocket and you won't have any problems like that. So
if you're at the range, you should be videoing yourself, because if you don't put it on the gram, it didn't happen.
Well,
so there's that.
Well, but if you have some sort of GoPro, you don't need the camera on your phone to video.
That's true. You're right. You're right.
When I had it on the rifle, I mounted it at the end of a 15-inch handguard, and also up on the receiver, like literally right behind the red dot, because it's small enough it didn't get in the way. And either place I located it, it worked fine. I really liked all the charts and graphs that the app has. If you're drawing out of a holster, most light-bearing holsters will work with it. It just gives it kind of something to grab onto, because as you can tell, with a normal holster, it will not work. It was kind of cool how it assessed what you did wrong. It's helpful more during dry fire for me than live fire, but to each their own. So if you're in the market for something like this, do go check out the MantisX. It's pretty cool. It's $150, so it's not like it's super expensive, but it's not like it's $20. So there is that. So we'll get into the Firearms Insider 8 key points. The claim to fame: it's an app-based firearms training system. The target market is pretty much anyone wanting to improve their shooting skills. Features and benefits: it's rail mounted, it's USB charging, it has Bluetooth, it's small, lightweight, comes with a carrying case if that matters, and a little charging cord. Pretty much other options, finishes: you can get adapters for magazines and other firearms without a rail to mount the MantisX on. So there is that. There is a review from Amazon on what somebody said, and then there's a link in the article to a review on the Truth About Guns. If you pretty much, they're $149.99 anywhere. You can buy them from MantisX. There's also a link to Midway. They seem to be running more than $150 on Amazon, so I didn't put an Amazon link in there. Why? I have no idea, but they were. So if you need it now, just go to MantisX. It'll help you. Our rating, the pros, is easy setup, USB charging. You can't beat that. It's lightweight. It diagnoses your shooting. It is fun. It has shot number tracking, and I like the movement graph in it. The cons, the only cons I could really find were it didn't want to always read the shots those few times. I will say that, if you look at my overall shooting, it's not just me, but I think my average between my wife and everybody that used it in my house is like 90. So yeah, but when even my kids and wife had fun trying to use it, so that was always there. So I did give it a score of 8.5, which was great.
His kids and wife were really ticked because Chad pulled their score down. You know that.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
You know it. I was trying to be nice, but actually the one I have to worry about is my son.
Yeah.
Our
so
son?
when they oh Jesus.
James'
when
cousin or brother-in-law.
Y'all gonna make me choke.
Nice.
Listen, I had a rough night last night. Calm down. When they first dropped this, they had issues with it.
Yes,
if I remember correctly.
A couple of years ago when they first dropped it, they did have issues with it, but they did improve.
It appears from your review, from what I've heard from a few other people, they have fixed all that. And
yes.
I think sounds like a great. I need to pick one of these up because I think that live fire is not like obviously live. Actually, shooting a gun is the best way to practice. But for one, you can't always do that, and for two, if you don't know what kind of feedback to look for when you're shooting,
right,
you're not good. Like if you can't diagnose your shots, if you can't check your work through your sights and all those little cliches we like to use, you're not really going to learn anything. This actually will give you some tips as to what's going on with the firearm.
Yes, like
while you're pressing the trigger, which is
like in the article, I put a couple screenshots, and like one it said possible causes support hand pulling. Well,
right.
Okay, you can actually click on that in the app, and it brings up a little like guy shooting, and it says what you can do to help to not do that. Yeah, a little video.
So I follow a guy on Instagram who's been using it quite heavily. He's one of the P10 S moderators, and he's been using it a lot and posting a lot about it on Instagram. And it's really been. I'm definitely. I think your review probably is going to push me to the edge to get one because.
I think Chad did a good review. The only thing I'll say about this, I think this is good practice to go along with good training.
Yes.
Yeah.
To help you
keep
those skills up.
There's really nothing that's perfect, right? Like those SIRT pistols are great too, but they have things that are downsides. There are, looking over the gun at where the laser is one example for it, like in a SIRT pistol. For this particular thing, I don't know. I haven't played with this. I don't know, but I'm sure there is something that can create bad habits. But you mix everything together and you get a good practice regiment, and you do pretty
I use
good.
a SIRT pistol every time I do a podcast, including this one.
I think SIRT pistols are great, but they do have their downsides, just like everything does.
I find that SIRT pistol is good for dry fire training. But I'd like to really check out one of these MantisX.
Can you put a MantisX on a SIRT pistol?
Yes.
If it's got a rail.
Yeah.
I have a rail.
It's like dividing by zero.
But I want to use one of these too because, like you said, SIRT pistol has a downside. It didn't take me long to just pay no attention to looking over the gun because I'm trying to hit the target with the SIRT pistol, but they all work. You know what's cheaper? Dry firing yourself, maybe getting a class. It all combines. You use it all together. All of these things help each other out, and they build upon each other to make you a better shooter. And I think if you're serious about shooting well, you do things like this. You take classes and you pick up aids, shooting aids. Yeah, I've set the empty cartridge case on top of my slide and dry fired with it, and that works on your trigger pull and keeping everything steady. You line your sights up. You can line your sights up free. You can dry fire on your light switch across the room for free. These are just additional steps you could use. You don't have to. You can use that same money from a MantisX for $150 and take a class with someone. But now you have to come up with, ammo. You need to have that time. You have to go out to the range. All of it can add up if you choose to. Because I love people just want to, I always look for a cheap alternative, but sometimes they aren't any.
I mean, and this is $150. That's what, 500 rounds of 9mm?
Yeah, and it's not a replacement for training. It's a supplement. Just like YouTube videos or a SIRT pistol or dry fire. Nothing is a replacement for books or whatever. We were talking before the show about a disagreement between two people in the industry. I'm not going to go into detail about it while we're live. But anyways, one of the individuals' thing about this was, well, there's nothing that it accomplishes that I can't accomplish with dry fire. And I don't think that's actually true, because in his case, it may be true because he's a very accomplished shooter and he knows what to look for when he's dry firing. For someone who's maybe not a master level B class or master level shooter, this is giving you feedback as to what you are or may be doing wrong during pressing of the trigger. So I think that, again, like we've all kind of agreed that it's a great training supplement. It's not a direct replacement for training, and I don't even think Mantis themselves would tell you that it is. I don't think we're fooling anybody.
Well, I spent some time with these guys at NRA this spring because I had it on my my previous Android phone, and I couldn't get the darn thing to work on my Android phone. I just couldn't get it to work. I had an iPad; it worked fine on the iPad. I had a Android tablet; it worked fine on the tablet. And I gave them the make and model of the phone. They're going to take a look at it. I got a new phone, and now it works fine on the new phone. So,
so you got a new phone. I was going to tell you stop being poor and get a better phone.
Who this?
Shut up. Shut the heck up. Now I tell you what, though, I had a couple, and I've got a bunch of different guns. So I tried it on a couple FNs, a couple Glocks, a couple Smiths, and I found several times where I got a bunch of cases where it would not pick up the shot. And one of the most prevalent one is I got a Glock 34 that I bought from somebody, and he was a competition shooter, and he had this thing fairly well tricked out for competition, and it was just the striker wasn't hitting it with enough force to register the shot, I believe.
He had light striker.
I was gonna say,
yeah, exactly. I don't know what the heck it was, but it was not. It wasn't. When we get these people that trick out their guns for competition, they do some really weird crap.
Yeah, and some of them are like, okay, they only use certain primers because they're softer.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you know exactly what brand of ammo you always shoot in your competition, you can drop that striker spring weight down, which is in turn going to reduce your but
for
not recommended for self-defense use whatsoever.
Exactly.
You can tune a gun for competition purposes, and then it might not work, like you say, with it.
Right. Again, what I love about this too is there's probably a couple hundred different pistols and rifles in there, so you can set this up for you change it from your Glock to a SIG to a Smith to a FN.
There's tons of them, especially handguns. I mean, it's just the list is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you could probably find something, even if you had some weird one like High Point, but it's probably in there. That you could find something similar that would still register and work. I mean,
High Point rules the world.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Okay. And now for certain people, we are into the product spotlight and discussion. These are not reviews. I repeat, these are not reviews.
This is where we get to critique new products on the market.
Yes. First up is the brand new release today, Zev OZ9 pistol with an MSRP of $1,679. If you hear something, it's me hitting the floor.
No, I'm sorry. I just gagged. I'm sorry. That was wow.
Okay.
I'm gonna hold all comments.
Okay.
I'm not. This thing better be made of solid gold. Oh, it's not. Whoops.
I'm going to go over what few little tech specs we have. You know, it's 9mm. It uses a ZEV exclusive OZ9 slide, a match grade barrel. We don't know if it's a Glock 17, Glock 19 special barrel. Kind of says, but it's got their Pro curved face trigger in it. It's got their OZ9 Pro Plus magwell. It comes with a SKB locking case. It comes with 2 Magpul PMag 17s, which of course are the 17 round Glock 17 mags. And what it looks like, I'll read their little thing here because it'll help a little bit. Parts of it. The heart of the OZ9 is our patent pending steel receiver. Solid steel frame runs the length of the entire pistol, allowing the locking block to be fully integrated. The extended rails in the steel receiver help to provide more than double the surface area contact to the slide. Additional benefits include channels that clear out debris while acting as lubricating reservoirs for high friction areas. Having a singular component for the slide to travel along minimizes vibration and recoil energy, stuff like that. It comes with a removable grip sleeve steel receiver. Basically, it looks like a Glock and a SIG 320 had a child, because their integrated rail system serialized part is basically the trigger, the locking block, the rail, and the front, and a pin that holds it together. And then that slides into their grip module. And then, of course, your slide goes on top. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a hit or not. I kind of doubt it at the price. But, I kind of like the concept, but SIG 320 style concept, Glock style pistol. Maybe they're going to come out with some cool grip frames. Maybe not. I don't know.
For $1,600?
No, not for $1,600.
I mean, no, this is almost $1,700.
Yeah, I know.
This thing's like $21 shy of $1,700. Nah.
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, what's the SIG P320 go for?
No, $600.
Like $600-700? Yeah. Gee, I can buy 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah. I get you. I mean, really, you can buy what? 3 Glock pistols at this price?
Easy.
Yep. Chad's yelling at his dogs because they won't shut up, by the way, for the listeners who are wondering why there's this awkward silence.
Yeah, you want to hear them? Yeah. They're barking, and they're barking at my son, of all things.
What's he?
Yeah, so this is interesting. ZEV makes parts, and some of their parts do not have the best track record. Some of their parts work just fine, as far as I know. I have a ZEV connector and a ZEV trigger spring that are in my parts box. They are not in a gun. That's not because they're no good. It's just because I didn't find them any more useful than another company's parts. I guess we'll see about this, but there's a lot of companies that are doing good stuff already, and this is, I don't know. I don't want to just say it's going to be trash, because I have, other than my one connector and my one striker spring, I have no experience with ZEV parts, but I have seen some stuff on the interwebs that lead me to believe that this might be overpriced.
Might be overpriced. I hear you, and I'm thinking it probably is, but hey, to each their own. I mean, time will tell.
So I'm over here checking out my Zero Delta Z9.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it?
I'm just looking at the price.
I didn't
the
mention that.
MSRP on this thing.
I missed it. Is it optics ready at least?
Yes, it's optics
Yes.
ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because just so everyone knows where I'm at with things from now on in 2019, we shouldn't be releasing pistols that aren't optics ready. Like we shouldn't be doing that anymore.
Literally $5 more for them to put the cutout in. Yeah.
All the gun makers just understand that's for 2019. If you release something that doesn't have an optics cut on it, that's something I'm gonna ding you on this show if you actually care, which you probably don't.
Well, I look at it this way: they make parts. They make lots of parts. Doesn't mean you make a great gun. Doesn't mean you don't make a great gun. They said they put this thing through 500,000 rounds.
But I want to know what the maintenance schedule was with 500,000 rounds, because obviously they replaced a couple of recoil spring assemblies, right? Like,
yeah, maybe. Yeah. No,
Right.
according to the internet, I fired 500,000 rounds through my high point and I haven't replaced anything.
You know,
it says so on the
obviously
internet.
there's a trigger reset spring has been replaced, or 2 or 17. Right, so like they can say, I saw in their video where they said, "Oh, we put 500,000 rounds through it," and I'm like,
yeah,
but what does that mean? Like, because I can rebuild a gun with parts and just continue to put rounds through it and be like, "Oh yeah, it's got 1,000,000 rounds," but it's been through 97 spring sets, and
so the whole gun has been rebuilt. It's like the old Marine Corps 1911s,
or the Marine Corps M16A2s that they still probably have in the armory of my old unit.
I wonder how much after 500,000 rounds, how much this pistol sounded like one of those old 45s, all rattly and.
See, the thing is, it's funny because there's certain words you can throw out there, and everybody's like in shock and awe. And 500,000 rounds shot through the gun is 50,000 rounds shot through. But understand, 1911s were tested in 1910. It was a 5,000 round test. It ain't that hard. You know what I mean? And there's different protocols you go through. I was just watching a video talking about FNSs. And they had Tom on from FN, and they were talking about the protocols they go through before they release a pistol. Look, you want to impress me? Tell me what those are when you run your pistol through. You know, don't tell me it passed the California test, because High Points passed the California test. You know, the DOJ test for California? Yeah, High Points passed them because they're sold in California. So I'm not impressed by that one. And like Zane said, 500,000 rounds. What exactly does that mean? I mean, I know it's a lot of flash and show. All right, now, who's the market for this? Who's going to drop $1,600 on a gun with no real track record as a duty firearm? No track record as a race gun. I mean, you can have race guns built for $1,600 that you can depend on because they're built off a Glock, they're built off a CZ. You know what I'm saying? And they have that track record. You can buy a nice CZ and send it to Cajun Gunworks, and then run your competition on it.
Or you can just buy like a CZ Shadow 2 or whatever they are.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, I know some competition shooters that run a bunch of zev'd up guns. Obviously not Zev guns because they make parts up until now. But I don't think I know anybody who carries a zev'd up gun. I know dudes who carry agency guns, who carry bore sight guns, who carry Cajun Gunwork guns. I don't know anybody who carries a zev'd up gun. So
I don't remember hearing that myself.
So I'm just thinking, like, so this maybe the competition folks might be into this, but I don't really live in that world, so I don't really know.
We're not pooping on any gun. We're not pooping on this gun at all. We're just asking questions like, all right, why would I spend $1,600 on this as opposed to something else? When, again, you're not a gun manufacturer. You're a parts manufacturer. That does not immediately translate into you make a good gun, especially when it's of your own design, I guess, more or less.
Yeah, because this is kind of it is. I'll give them that. They didn't just finish a polymer 80 and say, hey, look, we make a gun.
Right.
I give them credit for that, you know.
It's not just a Glock. They didn't just make a Glock and go, we're done. No,
I mean, like, if Magpul tomorrow came out and was like, hey, we're making a gun, I'd still be this skeptical, even though I love everything Magpul. Probably not as much as our former host, but, you know.
Yeah, I'd be saying the same thing. But at least Magpul has a track record. They built the ACR? That's what they call it, right? But they
Yeah.
built that. They
Yeah,
called
I
it the
think that.
Masada
Yeah.
back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Remington ruined it, but they built something cool. This could be the coolest thing ever. And I mean, I wish them the best, but they just don't have a track record right now. And I think it's really cool. It might have been
I also
better.
really like the idea of this, the idea of like the trigger group being the serialized part.
Yep.
I think that's cool, especially for folks like you, Tony, who you have to get a effing special purchase permit every time you want to buy something. So that's neat, So again, not poo-pooing it, but I also don't have extremely high hopes. I hope it does well. I hope it's great because the more competition and the more good stuff there is out there, the more options we got.
Exactly, and we like options. So
Yep.
we're going to move on to the next product, which Zane.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Yo, this comes with a freaking exclusive patch. Wait a minute. Talk about some of the cool stuff you get. You get a Pelican case. Right?
I said that. Well, it's not.
You said that?
It's not Pelican, it's SKB, but yeah.
Oh, did you say about the patch from Kit Fox that you get?
No, because it's not on their website, so I can't guarantee it comes with that.
Whatever. It's on hers, and it does. And you can also get some at the SHOT Show. They'll have them at the booth, so I expect to get one in the mail, Chad. Just saying.
Why don't you just talk to Kit Fox Design and tell them to give you one? Might be easier. So I have to now go to the Zev booth to pick up a patch.
Yep.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I'll put
and
it
hopefully
on
don't tell them you're with the Firearms Radio Network because they might punch you in the face for what we just said today.
Well, that'll be fine because I'll be wearing the shirt that I ordered that says gun control is racism.
Oh, okay. No problem. Wear that.
So yes, I ordered one of those yesterday or whatever to wear at SHOT Show. So.
Oh, that is awesome.
Nice. Nice.
Hey, they're $10. Well, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, no, I didn't get a dime from it. Way to go, bro.
Yeah, I know. I'll send you an A2 grip to make up for it.
I knew he was going to say that.
Yep, it's guaranteed. Okay.
I'm drinking more cough syrup.
Okay. Next up is a pistol about half the price or less. And it's the new
way less than half the price.
Yeah, I know. It's the new CZ USA P10 S is the one I put in the show notes. And they're optics ready, and they are made in the USA ones. Because if you don't know, CZ opened a plant in, I think, Kansas City, but somewhere like that. And so now they're making pistols in the US. These are some of the first ones to be made in the US. Looks like they have, this is the S, which is like the compact version. They're 9mm. It is the P10 series.
It's actually like the subcompact version,
yes,
which is literally what S stands for.
Yes, and it is 12+1 rounds. It's polymer striker fired, 3.5-inch barrel. Comes with a front tritium night sight and a rear serrated combat sight. The normal trigger safety firing pin block. So it is the small one. They don't really have much information on it, but it is optics ready for a list price of $577. They also make low capacity versions for states like Jersey, unfortunately. But they're offering, it looks like they're making the optics ready in the regular P10C, the P10 S, and the P10 F, which the F is the full size, the compact, subcompact. You got it figured out. Like I said, there's not much information on this, but for Zane 2019, they're optics ready.
Better be.
You better be. So I just thought it was kind of cool. They're in here. They're all $600 or less. The CZ makes good pistols. I'm hoping that they keep up. The US ones are just as good as the Czech ones. So
I hope you're right. That's the one thing I worry about. Like, I don't want their quality to go to crap. Right. I really like the P10 series of guns. I've only shot a P10C, and I think that's the only one I've actually
fondled. Until recently. I think that's the
only one that's out.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the only one that was out.
Yeah, and
they got the P10 S.
And that gun just feels good. It's got all the stuff that I complain that Glock doesn't put on their guns from the factory. It's got those things. I think CZ makes a solid product, and now they got optics ready ones. I'm not a huge fan of subcompact guns. The Glock 26 sized guns, which is what this one that we're specifically talking about is. They're better than single stack subcompacts, but I would rather move up to a compact size or a full size. But I mean, optics ready, the guns, they got front cocking serrations on them. They got sights that are metal from the factory, even though I'm not a huge fan of night sights. Like, it's hard to go wrong with a CZ. CZ makes a solid gun. Even if you're not a fan of the striker-fired guns, they make some solid DASA guns, whether you're looking at the old school 75s, whether you're looking at the PO9, PO7 series.
Right.
CZ makes solid guns, and I don't expect these to be any less.
Right. I will mention, it looks like the tritium, it's got an orange surround, it says, for the...
Yeah, so it's got a really stupid wide front sight.
Yeah,
like a very, very thin front sight. But everyone, sights are like underwear, man. Everyone's got their own preference on what they want.
That's right. It has adapter plates for the Trigicon RMR and the Leopold Delta Point Pro. So
that's another gripe I have. Like, optics manufacturers, cut it out. Let's get one footprint. Like, can we not, like, with everyone, because the plate systems are not nearly as reliable as custom milling, and custom milling is expensive, and I'm one of those poors that can't really custom mill. So can we just figure out a footprint and just go with it?
Yes.
And, you got to use like red Loctite in order to get to stay correct.
Yeah.
And by pick a footprint, I mean Trigicon RMR.
Yeah, exactly.
And can we also tell me how many thousands of rounds did this shoot during testing? Because I found that.
Sorry, Tony.
I obviously shouldn't trust anybody unless they fired a loose hat.
Okay. Now, it does say that their irons will co-witness with the optics. So
you can get irons away. And honestly, I am not a red dot expert when it comes to pistols, clearly, but people that I trust tell me co-witnessing of irons with red dots on pistols is dumb. So
as of right now, I have a pistol, not this one, but another one. It's got that hollow set on it, but it has no iron sights on it at all.
Well, so I understand the idea of having the higher sight so you can see them.
Right.
But legitimately co-witnessing them, so
as long as I get what you're saying. Right. Is they don't need to be an inch tall, they could be a half-inch tall, say. As long as you can see them through the sight, they can be
they could still be like, exactly.
There's no reason for them to be on the same sighting plane, because you should never be using both of them at the same time. You should be using one sighting system or the other.
Right.
Basically, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Me personally, I'm looking at this. I've watched someone shoot it, and they were running through it and banging it out. And I think it's pretty cool that they have a compact, I guess a subcompact
version.
Yeah, subcompact version. They have the Glock 19 size now. They have the Glock 26 size. And, of course, they also have the F coming out, which is the P10 F. And that's what I'm looking at. But, again, frustrating living in a state like this, that you're going to have something, because the P10 F is going to come with a 19-round magazine.
And I'm actually the F says, 19 rounds, or they have a extended with a base plate, factory extended to 21.
Yeah, why don't I get a factory extended base plate on my P10F and then just have it restricted to 10 rounds?
I know. You get what I'm saying.
Hey, Tony,
I know.
I hear Glock has a gun coming out with a 10-round capacity.
I do too.
Yeah,
but we can't. That's what the rumors say. I hear the rumors are coming out like in a couple days.
Listen, I didn't sign the NDA.
I
didn't screwed up.
So somebody else did. So the Glock 43X may be out soon with a 10-round magazine.
Yes.
But Glock 43s hurt the web of my hand because they feel like I'm striking a tree with a thin aluminum baseball bat.
The Glock 43, that's a small little micro single stack, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same size as this gun we're talking about, except for it's single stack. So if you have hands that are not little girls' hands, every time the gun kicks, and I know the internet warriors are going to tell me 9mm doesn't kick. Well, yeah, it does a little bit. And when you got that really thin web and it smacks you right in the web of your hand, it's way nicer to shoot something a little bigger.
Right, because it's only right in the nerve cluster. It's only smacking you on the back because your hand, there's gaps in it when you grab the handle itself. It's like
I hate single stack 9mm.
It's like
hate them.
So
and you have small hands.
To talk about this particular firearm, the P10C has a track record. The P10C is used by Polish border guards, so it has been adopted by military/police. It's being used by a whole bunch of people. So it, again, has a track record. Now, this is the first time, I think, this is the first product being put out by CZ USA, being produced here, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
I believe that because
one of the first ones,
their slides say Kansas City for a while, but if this is being manufactured here, I wish them the best, and I hope they don't suffer from SIG disease. Which, when SIG started building pistols here, they had some screw-ups. Well, and they had to get their QC right. Yeah. When they opened up in
Glock had some issues when they opened their plant up in, was it Georgia where they have their...
Smyrna,
Georgia. Yep. They had a couple issues. You know, happens.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking, who the heck opened up in South Carolina?
FN.
Yeah. But you never know. Even Para Ordnance, when they moved from Canada to North Carolina, had some issues.
That was a Freedom Group thing.
Yeah, wasn't that Freedom Group?
No. They weren't Freedom
Group. No, it
was
before. It was right before.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, everybody that shows up and who may have problems, teething problems, getting something off the ground. I don't want to be that beta tester for any manufacturer. Sorry, not for a personal defense gun. If you just want to be the first dude to review it or it goes in your collection, awesome. But to jump right on something and then sit there all butt hurt because your P365 wasn't working right.
But if they want to send Tony's for his diversity shoot, he might.
Oh, I have no problem being hypocritical and taking free stuff from any manufacturer. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I'm totally with you though on that. Like, I will not buy something that's new in the first year. I'm not going to.
You shouldn't buy first year new cars. You shouldn't buy first year new guns.
Or when they do a major redesign.
So even when the Gen 5 Glocks came out, right? My buddy bought one like the day they were released. And I did it and he let me steal it for about 400 or 500 rounds and do a review on it. And I still waited another year and a half before I actually bought one. I have one now, but I'm like, I don't want it, Brandon. And even after, playing with his, I did the review. I published it to the website, or you published it to the website, but I wrote it.
Me 90% of it. All I did was add the proper links or whatever and post it.
And so, and that's me, a Glock fanboy. So, no, I'm not going to buy this CZ as soon as it comes out. But in a year or so, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And in 2020, I'm really going to be hammering manufacturers for not having optic-ready guns.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
with the optics on them by then.
No, because they'll be making crap optics. They'll pull a SIG and make like an optic that sucks and want to stick it on their gun with their own custom footprint. I'm sorry, SIG, but I don't like your optic. I don't like your Romeos.
Oh, really? Because I just got a Romeo. Can't wait to see how it works.
Well,
I don't know.
Do you not like the Romeos on the pistols, but the
pistol ones,
the regular not Romeo?
I've seen no experience. I've not even seen a regular Romeo like a one for a rifle.
Oh, I have.
I got that.
I like them.
Okay,
I got that. It looks good. Truthfully, it's a Holosun, dude. It's a freaking Holosun.
I tell you what, Holosun, man, now that we're like way off track anyway.
Oh, we did. Hey, it's a new year. Whatever.
Holosun, man, they're making some noise in the optics industry.
Yeah.
Like, they're
Bro.
hurting some feelings.
I'm loving mine.
They're doing what Vortex did several years ago when
Yes,
they came
they
in
are.
with really low prices and decent stuff and were like hurting feelings and forcing people to drop their prices. Hollis is doing it again.
Yeah, and they actually
happened
put
is-
RMR cut on their pistol sights. Oh, did I say that?
What
and they
happened is
use
this.
a real cut.
What happened is this. The world was ruled by Trijicon and Aimpoint.
Yep.
It was Mercedes-Benz and
And
Cadillac
Loophole.
were the two big ones. And Loophole. So
Yep.
Mercedes-Benz, Cadillac, and BMW ruled the roost. And then the Japanese came and rocked their worlds with some Toyotas.
Dude,
And
so
then
me and my
Toyotas
brother were
kicking
actually
butt.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden the Koreans showed up with Hyundais and just rocked the Japanese. And that's exactly what HoloSun is doing to Vortex. That's what HoloSun is doing to both Trijicon, Aimpoint, and Leopold. Because now you have a decent optic that's good for darn near general use by everybody. It's not bomb-proof as in, I'm not going to say you're going to deploy with it. Guess what? Most people don't ever deploy.
And if you do, you're probably not buying your own optic.
Exactly.
No.
So for anything a civilian can use this thing for, and take it from me as a dude that loads it in my rifle bag and throws it and it locks it up or throws it in the back of the car and it still doesn't lose zero. And I've been banging this thing around on both the SKS and various ARs and taking it to diversity shoots and having people who've never shot a gun, having it banged around used by different levels of expertise and my instructors. And it still kicks butt. Yeah, I'd say go with a HoloSun. And the Romeo is a HoloSun.
That HoloSun pistol sight, it passed Cowan's freaking test, and he throws stuff on the balcony and stuff.
Because he does ridiculous stuff.
He does ridiculous stuff, and he didn't break it. So,
which is saying a lot. Okay, now we're going to get into something else. We have listener feedback.
Yippee. I bet it makes sense.
Oh, yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. Oh, it says we gave it.
It's going to be great.
4 stars. It's AJGJK.
I appreciate the 4 stars. I mean, we've had way worse. We've had way worse.
Yeah, it said reviews are good, but I don't believe you actually see some of the products. Okay, let me just finish reading it. I like the mix of reviews and product spotlights you have on this podcast. I just don't understand how you can review a product without ever touching it. Just reading about it is something I can do. You really need to have a podcast the product in hand to be able to review.
I concur.
I'm confused with this.
I agree 100% with what he says. You do have to have a product in hand to be able to review it.
But see, at the beginning, he says he likes the mix of reviews and product spotlights. Does he not understand that we don't always do reviews and we specify what's what?
No, I think so because this is what I just think, that because we usually do read our reviews, that he thinks we're reading a review that somebody wrote. And we are reading a review that somebody wrote.
But it's what we wrote ourselves.
I wrote it. Like if I do a review, every review I've ever done and every review I ever will do, I have put my hands on the product and put many rounds through, if it's gun related, many rounds through, and I have thoroughly played with. You will never hear anything come from me that I did not actually physically lay hands on.
Because we
in the review section, in the spotlight section, I'm more than happy to speculate and talk crap.
Exactly. And that's how I think we all are, because everything I've ever written a review on, I had in my hands and have used for.
And I was going to say, since I've been here, been just over 2 years, I think I've been doing this with you guys. Not a single review has been done where whoever did it didn't have actual product in hand.
Well, that's the thing.
I can't speak since before I got here because I might have been doing shady shit back then, but
no, we actually had them, and that's the thing is in order to get a review posted, you either have to be one of a few people or you send it to me, and I post it. Well, I'm not going to post it if you're like, oh yeah, I had this product, but I don't have this product.
Yeah, there's literally like 2 people other than the people on the show who write reviews. and I don't think we've ever actually covered them on the show. They get posted to the website.
Right. Like Devin will review.
Like Devin will do reviews, but I don't
and-
think we've ever even read his reviews on the show.
Right. I tried to get him on. And if people don't know, Devin, who writes reviews on there, is also our producer, which means I send him our audio and he puts it out on the internet and puts the intros in it and makes us actually almost sound professional, which has got to be a pretty hard job because we know
we don't pay him enough.
He gets paid what we all get paid.
And I think Kenny wrote a review one time, and he came on and did it, though.
He did come on, and that's the thing.
Who was a producer for another show on the network.
And he doesn't write them very often, but when he does, I told him, I'm like, hey, you write these. I said, if you want to come on, which because he's on other podcasts too, he's willing to come on when he writes a review and discuss it. So that's always a plus. So now that we're done with that, I guess we can give the floor to Tony. Oh
yeah, I actually wanted to say something about the review thing too. And
okay.
I was having a coughing fit, so I had the mute button on. We legitimately do reviews. If a company sends us something, we let you know the company sent us something. I've done a review on High Point well before I ever had any kind of relationship with High Point.
I'm going to mention that the High Point review is almost consistently one of the top reviews viewed on the website.
I believe it.
Oh, I do too, because everybody knows High Point is troll bait. And it's great. But if something really sucks, more than likely I won't waste the time it takes to write a review up on it. I just won't mention it. I have a holster that's so bad. It's almost it's not as quiet as the footsteps of a Navy SEAL.
Oh, geez.
But it's almost as bad. It has spit my gun out of my waistband more times than I care to admit.
So my thing with that is if a company sends me a product for free and it's terrible, I will send it back to them and be like, look, your product is terrible, but I'm not going to trash it publicly.
Right.
But if I spend money on something and it's terrible.
Yeah, that's a different
you bet game on.
You bet you will hear about it on this show.
That's a different story. But
and the thing is like a lot of the products that we get in for review, they're decent products. So when we give them a decent score or we say, hey, we like this, we try to go over what we don't like about it. But these products are decent products because, it's kind of hard to get an iffy product where somebody's like, yeah, we don't care.
Well, and the other thing is if there's a product that I have history with the company with, I just won't take it. You offered to send a company wanted to send me something to review, and I'm like, no, I don't want it. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not going to say who it was, obviously, but I'm like, no, I don't want it because I don't have good history with that company. I don't like their products. I don't want their stuff. I don't want to review it. Send it to somebody else.
I don't even remember what it was. So see,
it was a holster company.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And it's not my favorite holster company. Put it that way.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing is, and sometimes we will, like I've called companies before and said, hey, this, if it's really bad, you'll be like, this is what you need to, this is why. I mean, and you can send it back.
Yep. So, I just wanted to get that out because sometimes if you pay close attention, you can tell on YouTube who gets paid for reviews and who doesn't.
Yes, you can.
The sad part is we don't get paid. I mean, yes, if they send us stuff, a lot of times we get to keep it, but there are times when we get sent stuff or at least in my case, I've been sent stuff that I had to send back. And, I knew this before. They get the same treatment either way. And, it's like, hey, this is how I feel about it. And, some stuff goes back. I will mention that like I said, I have that Holosun 507 in for review that they sent me for review. I did end up purchasing it because I like it so much. So, and I haven't done the review yet. So
That's kind of a dead giveaway.
yeah, kind of, isn't it?
Here's a hint. He liked it today. All right, let's talk about the diversity shoot. I didn't have my dates picked out because Sean and we actually have to sync up schedules with not only us, but some of our volunteers to make sure that we're going to have people available. We're also growing this year. We're going to kick butt. We're going to be in more than one state. Might be as many as 3 states this year. What I do need from you guys, though, are the listening, donations, Patreon. Yep, need money. It's got to happen. Because I'm going to NRA this year. And shoot, just do business cards alone for NRA. We got to go out there. We got to stay in the hotel. And I'm going to spend the entire NRA networking and trying to make us grow, companies and everything else. So, yes, I need funds. Please pick up one of my shirts. Please donate to our GoFundMe. The second is for everyone. Please go to our Patreon. The second is for everyone, or 2A4E podcast. That helps out. If you want to buy a shirt, 1022clothing.us. Just saying, this gets by on funds. If you're dead broke, join your local Second Amendment group. If you can't join the group, join their newsletter. Learn what's happening in your state. If you live in a perfect state with all the frickin' freedoms, join anjrpc.org. Join their newsletter so you can see the nightmare that's happening in New Jersey, because this is coming to a state near you if it goes down without a fight here. So organizations like cnjfo.com or anjrpc.org actually fight this crap in the courts. So right now, we got this magazine ban, it's 10 rounds. We're taking that to the Third Circuit. We already lost the 3-person because one judge was from Obama, one judge was from Clinton, and one judge is for Trump. So, yeah, it was a 2-1 vote. So now we're doing it in front of the entire Third Circuit. Need funds for that. Please help. It's not just for me. It's for all of us. Because if you can beat it down here, it might take care of magazine limits, at least in everything that's covered by the Third Circuit. Need help. Join your Second Amendment group in your state. The battle is on the state level now. You got to vote in your primaries. You got to get busy. I know a bunch of gun dudes sitting around going, I hate this. I hate politics. Well, I do too. But sometimes you got to man up, put on your adult underwear, and go out and do adult stuff like vote and pay attention to what's actually happening in the world before your rights are taken away and you're doing grown-up time in jail because your gun is now against the law. And yeah,
but bump stocks are stupid anyways, Tony.
Oh, I don't want to fight for bump stocks. Oh, God. Listen, you lazy. Whoa, no person. Okay,
let's mute everybody.
Okay, let's get right on. So, again, if you want to help us out, diversityshoot.com. You can listen to 2A4E podcast almost on any podcast app because Anchor got their stuff back together. Sean and I are going to kick off 2019 with some new stuff going on that podcast, too. And give random drawings are going to be held for our friends that donated Patreon. We got the knives, and they're all serialized, and we'll be passing those out to winners very soon. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate going on. 2019 is a year we all, as firearms owners, got to grow the community and become activists. Thanks as always. Really appreciate it. Have a great new year.
Woohoo. Send questions, comments, or feedback to gungearreview@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review, and we will try to not make fun of it on the show, or we will. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv. Be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and industry coverage. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Firearms Insider. Thank you for listening to the largest pound for pound podcast on the network. Happy New Year, and we are out.
Bye, Felicia.